Okay, this last one comes from Arthur D. Wait a minute. Something's not right here. Wait a minute, I know what it is. I can finally move past the living room again. Well, of course, because we're looking at Lackadaisy. Yes, it took me until now to really look at this comic, though I don't know why I didn't sooner. It's got freaking cats in it. It's basically like the webcomic equivalent to Sherlock Hound, where everyone is just one species of animal. It was created by Tracy Butler in 2006, who's still going at this series even now, and even won some awards early on with this comic. Like so many others, I held off on it mostly due to time and other commitments. But now at least we can give attention to what's definitely one of the more unique looking comics out there. So let's see how far we can go. Let's go back in time where alcohol limits were real. This is Lackadaisy, 1920, located at the junction of the Mississippi and Missouri rivers. The city is one of the nation's largest. It's both a busy port and a major train hub, soon to be home of the largest archway that served to honor westward expansion in the US. But until then, this is about alcohol bans. Yeah, this is set during a time where alcohol was prohibited to be produced, shipped, and sold to the masses, due to protests by the common folk, and while it would likely have saved grain needed for war, its effects were not taken lightly by most people, and this comic shows several ways people got around it. For as you can see, an entrepreneur by the name of Atlas, owner of the Little Daisy Cafe, found that there were tunnels beneath his establishment and decided to turn that into his own speakeasy, which is of course named after the title of this comic. Being in a city that gets the majority of alcohol shipments, it would last a long time, until more people decided they want in on the money, and well, as per 1920s gang life standards, he was murdered. His widow, Mitzi, would end up taking over, though not without suspicion, and now only a small handful of the original crew remain. Now, judging from the drop list, each page is meant to reference a key theme. Like this one is Rum Runner, which refers to Rocky here, getting the detail of where the next shipment will be, but also has to deal with competitors. Now, besides the sepia tone styling that allows for a nice variety of shades, the designs of the characters are very fine looking, very detailed, and very expressive. It's said to take after both Disney and Don Bluth styles of artwork, though part of me was thinking cats don't dance, especially with this guy. Also, while very humanoid, they don't shy away from having paw pads or tails. Anyway, the 4 pig farmers, that's what the cast page refers to them as, decide that rather than kill him outright, that because one of them was in a bad mood, they throw him in the back of a truck with their dead pig they shot so they can take him and nail him to the railroad tracks. You know, fellas, unlike a certain villain that I have to put up with in January, you have more than enough time to just kill him now rather than wait for that train to get here. I'm just saying, you could save yourselves time if you... Well, since Rocky is able to convince them to try and make this an even bigger gore fest, he takes this time to try and escape while they get their gun. Just as it looks like it won't matter, the train shows up and he makes his escape. He of course has to laugh like a child until face planting. I think I like him, but let's see how he handles the ladies. Speaking of, at the cafe we see Mitzi reading the obituaries with Ivy watching. And guess who shows up? Good afternoon, ladies. It's a lovely day out there for an extraordinary long walk. Yeah, I probably can't do the Joey voice. Anyway, despite the obvious that their business isn't looking too good, he seems determined to get that shipment later, but needs a vehicle to get his car back. So he's shown to the truck that's in the garage, being fixed up by Victor, who only hears this. Noise, noise, noise.
Those rotten kids! Noise, noise, noise. Nothing but noise!
No, but Victor, we didn't even ask a question. I just need some help getting the car. Could you please? Not now, I'm busy. Okay, if it weren't for the fact he's Austrian, I could have so mistook that for cat speech. Ivy convinces him to do it after doing some roughhousing. Now the characterization so far has been really good, and we have a good idea on what they're all like. Rocky's the suave, perky, and ambitious newcomer. Ivy appears to be sweet but can be convincing to a degree. Victor is strong and somewhat smart without being too much of an Arnold stereotype. And Mitzi is the wise leader who doesn't appear above her workers given how much she talks to them. I'd say given the group size they have their positions in the business, but I can almost see them as equals. Almost, anyway. Mitzi also appears to still struggle with the death of her husband, talking to his portrait about current events, tossing the typewriter out the window, and getting drunk off of vodka. Anyway, she ends up asking Rocky to deliver a letter to the Union Trust building, specifically to a Mr. Sable, for some kind of meeting tomorrow, hopefully to invite some investors. After that, we see that Rocky has himself an aunt that he goes to in case he needs to get his jacket fixed up, though apparently she doesn't know he's doing illegal activities. I don't see how someone who earns a living playing the violin manages to destroy his clothing on a daily basis. It's a competitive field. Well, he isn't wrong. He's asked to take his cousin Calvin with him. He's sad because of something involving being let out of the police academy or whatever. But Rocky's got just the thing. Molotovs! Yep, he's taking this young youth over to the pig farmer's farm to throw fire at it. That's a nice lesson to teach to someone who thinks of himself as useless for not being able to uphold the law. But Rocky isn't much of a bright one either. This kid will likely be scarred for life after this, but the important thing to know is that vigilantes and jazz players have to improvise by releasing the brake lever on a flaming car so it rolls downhill into the house and not the barn that had a brewery inside. So, last chance? Are you questioning my logic? Yes, you plan to steer yourself in a fire-ridden truck to blow up a barn. How will you escape though in case it does blow up on you? Well, he succeeds, but they better run because
I got a shotgun.
And his wrongdoing is already rubbing off on the kid. Keep this up, and he'll become a lawbreaker yet. He takes him to the cafe for lunch, where Ivy takes a bit of a liking to him, being cute and all. Well, you're all cats. It's in your nature. Because of what he did, she suggests bringing Calvin down into the basement with them later, but he's like, no. But when he gets his coffee spilt on him, she's able to sneak Calvin a little something that'll help him get in later. Later on, we see Sable at a quarry trying to convince these entrepreneurs about using Missouri rock to be used in paving. So there's definitely an interesting business side to this story that we get to learn that might have gone on back then. But otherwise, this is just so he can get them to come with him to where he's going. Again, Mitzi is trying to get investors to invest in her business, even though it's illegal. And now we get acquainted to Mordecai Heller, who from the character page looks rather cool and dignified, as a professional hitman it seems, but here we see that he doesn't know the difference between a joke and an actual job. Hell, just the fact he can kill people easily with a hatchet means he can get anything done. He works for the Marigold Gang, and they appear to be in touch with the 4 pig farmers as they use their pigs to let them eat people. That is a thing, don't get me wrong, but I have a hard time picturing how it works in this world, and probably for the best not to. Though, given the timing of their appearance, I have a sneaking suspicion that this might do something to this upcoming gathering of sorts. Speaking of, Ivy really is interested in Calvin. Oh dear. They do appear to be the same age at least. Oh, and Rocky really is a violin player. Though right now, he has to go pick up that shipment. And Victor, who is rather reluctant and looking nice for this party, goes with him. So level with me, boss lady. Do I get to spend my humble wages on bad habits this week? Or should I be invested in some train tickets for myself and the boys? What do you mean by bad habits? Oh god, are we really gonna get to see Stripper clubs? Well, until they can get the shipment in, he has to entertain the guests somehow. Back with Calvin, he tries to pass time by fixing things, which could be an indicator he's more cut out to be a handyman than a policeman. Though he's unable to sleep, so you know what that means. Yep, he's sneaking out. Oh, and it looks like the Marigold Gang, led by Asa Sweet, will have some influence tonight because we see a bit of what they did last night. This gives us a good understanding of how successful their business is, how they handle competitors, and just how deadly they can be while doing it. If this is just one of the many rival gangs we have to put up with, I hate to imagine who else we'll see later on. And especially once they learn a bit more about the barn destruction from their subordinates. Well, our heroes, as if I had a different term for them, get the shipment, and while heading back, they get followed by the pig farmers, who are none too pleased about what happened lately. While Rocky takes stuff downstairs, Victor ends up noticing their pursuers and goes to confront them. Now this page shows how clever the Austrian kitty is, as he throws glass in the dark to get them firing elsewhere, and effectively waste ammo, though he gives himself away when loading his gun. This is exciting as they are clearly no match for the giant cat, and when he gets one of their Uzis, you better watch out. Well, Rocky got some of it down at least, while Mitzi tries to make business. Again, this is an interesting take on how speakeasies work back in a time where it was hard to come by these drinks. This definitely has the makings of film noir written all over it, and so far it's just really fun to read. Anyway, Rocky gets the band to help out, but little do they know they're about to run into a minefield of bullets! Actually, they escape before that happens, but now the farmers have a way into the cellar. Biscuit Annie word. Hi. So, are you previously engaged sitting in that old flivver and looking contemplative this evening? Or were you planning on coming in? Kid, you might want to take her out tonight. Getting laid in there is not worth getting shot. So apparently Ivy's been going through a lot of boys in her life, given this guy's reaction. But before they can do anything, Rocky crashes in. They try to explain what this place is, and Calvin is like, and they try to get him out. But too late. Once Mitzi learns they're being raided, they get everyone and Ivy to evacuate. It sounds as though despite what happened, Sable is rather confident with how he is with Mitzi's business, though not so much with the other guys. Anyway, the gang gets ready with countermeasures. No, not that. They learned that Rocky did a bad thing to them, which is why they're pissed off. Time for a little jazz music. I know just the one.
Wake up, get up, get up there. Raise your voice, I guess like yours. Feed around the fire. Like a strawberry would change.
They try to get weapons, but their stock is empty. Someone did something, but either way, they're cornered. Rocky tries to ready a gun, but he isn't holding it right. So Calvin uses his police training and shoots the guy in the head. No, Calvin, Rocky's laugh lesson does not work here. But oh crap, he's loaded! Oh, and Ivy inadvertently helps Victor knock out more guys. Though since he was shot, she has to go call for help. She needs money though, which leads to my favorite line from her. Hey! You have money! Thanks? Brilliant. Anyway, more guns!
You'll never see it come back. You say that's for life. You're done now. You're not surprised.
Well, that was exciting. Anyway, he's done. After some talk with Mitzi about what just happened, he decides to go after him since obviously exposing him to this much excitement can be troublesome if he tells his mother. Of course, the shock has gotten into Calvin so much, he won't listen to him at all. Sounds like Calvin's going to tell the police, which would be bad because Rocky likes this place as they tolerate him. But with him gone, will this lead to the end of the Lackadaisy? I don't know. read on your own time, because this comic story is just too good to really go deeper into here. Like Zoophobia, the characters are just ripe for character building, and the activities they get involved with make it more exciting to where it gives it flair to this time period. Like, this is the kind of drama that makes you interested in what's going to happen next, and all with a good balance in light and dark humor. And with the artwork being expressive and detailed, it just makes for a well-designed comic that I can't wait to get back into myself. I might do more videos on this later. I mean, I still gotta catch up on Two Kinds. I want to do one more video on Skin Deep. Maybe do another on UberQuest, but I don't know. I'll leave it to you guys if you want me to go back here sometime. But other than that, I know there's at least one comic I want to introduce you guys to. But first, I have some unfinished business to settle. Anyone up for a late Christmas video?